If your go-to for leftover brisket is to make chili, it's time to up your game and make some brisket pizza. You don't want to waste all that hard work making that amazing smoky brisket and then cover it up with a bunch of spices in the slow cooker. Instead, keep it as smoky and good as when it was fresh, but with a new twist. Everybody knows that the most important ingredient in any pizza is the dough. And if you have a favorite, go ahead and use that, or you could go to the grocery store, your favorite pizza chain, and buy some. But I suggest that you use my slow ferment version that I'm going to share with you. It has amazing texture and flavor, and it starts the day before. This will take some time, but it is totally worth it. Start with 300 grams of water, an eighth a teaspoon or a third a gram of yeast, and 300 grams of flour. And I like 100 grams of whole wheat flour for added flavor with 200 grams of bread or all-purpose flour. Mix it together into a gooey mess and leave it covered on the counter overnight. The next morning it should be nice and bubbly, and I add 180 grams of water, 1.5 teaspoons or 8 grams of salt, and 300 grams of flour. A time-saving tip is to knead it in a stand mixer for 8 minutes, or you can knead it by hand until incorporated and smooth, then let it sit for 30 minutes. Then you're going to grab the dough, stretch it, and fold it over itself 8 times. Cover it, and after another 30 minutes, do the stretch and fold again 4 more times. If you did it in the stand mixer, or if you did it by hand, you're going to leave it covered on the counter for 4 to 6 hours until it doubles. Remove the dough and then portion it into 3 equal sizes. Lightly grease them with olive oil and then put them in a baking sheet for an hour or 2 to rise and make sure that they're covered. If you want, you can skip the last rise and put these in a closed container in the fridge for up to a day. While that's rising, I put the vacuum sealed brisket from the freezer into a pot set to simmer and remove it when it's hot or about 45 minutes later. And this pro method is going to keep the juices with your brisket so that way you don't have dry, freezer burned leftovers. While that's going, I set up the grill outside. Normally I would use a charcoal grill, but there is a burn ban right now because the air quality isn't super good, so I'm going to use the gas grill instead. And really, you can't beat the convenience. All you need is a pizza stone and you're good to go. This one is a 4-burner, so I'm going to have the outside burners set to high. The inside burners for this grill are set to low, and that gives me around 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is perfect for making pizza. With the dough stretched, it's time to make the pizza. And I'm using just a standard, regular old tomato pizza sauce. And you can put as much or as little on there as you want. But one change that you could make is using your favorite barbecue sauce instead. That gives it just a little bit more zip. Next up is the cheese, and I'm using regular old mozzarella, and I've got it in slices rather than shredded. That's just out of convenience sake, because 1 pound is enough for 3 pizzas, and that's also how much I get out of the dough recipe. And don't worry if it's not edge-to-edge cheese, because these slices are gonna melt and spread out a little bit on the pizza. Next up is some of that smoked and cubed brisket, and that's what we came here for. I like a little bit of spice on my brisket pizza, and that is where the jalapenos come in, which gives me just a little bit of that flavor from Texas. The store was out of fresh jalapenos, so I'm using the canned stuff, so if you don't like it super spicy, that's another way to cut down on the heat as well. Another good variation is if you have some caramelized onions. That goes super well with any barbecue pizza, but I do like to put just a little bit of garlic salt on top. I feel like that brings it over the top. Before I lift the lid on the grill, I always give the pizza just a little bit of a shake to make sure it doesn't stick to the peel. It's unfortunate if you get it stuck there, or if you leave the lid open too long, you're gonna let out too much heat and you're not gonna get that crispy brown cheese on top. So let's go ahead and put it on the grill. We're shooting for somewhere around about 5 or 6 minutes before we give it a twist. So it's been a few minutes and it's time to give this thing a twist, so that way it cooks more evenly. Most grills cook hotter in the front or the back, and that way if you give it a twist, it's more likely to cook evenly when you're done. But the trick here is you have to be really fast, because if you open up that lid, you're gonna let out a lot of heat and it won't be enough to finish the cooking process and get the crispy cheese that I'm hoping to get. And just like that, the pizza is done. We ended up getting some of that crispy cheese, but it took longer than it normally would. If you haven't noticed, it's in the middle of winter and it's been cold, and that makes the grill not get up to temp quite as high, but we're super happy with the crust. I'm gonna take it inside, let it cool, and then we'll do the taste test. With that, let's dig in and do the taste test. Look at that cheese pull. So I don't know why you would ever want to do chili with your leftover brisket when you do something like this. We get a whole big mix of flavors. You got some spice, you got the beefy brisket in there, and of course, crispy crust. You can't go wrong. But you can't make brisket pizza without a brisket, and that is why you should watch this video where ChatGPT shows me how to make a brisket, and we see how well it does.
So good.